I'm kicking in your front. Great peeping in your drapes. Rob making a plate in the back. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast. Right now. So I remember I talked to you on the phone and I mentioned the term big money. Now I did some research and and I found that nobody that while they played for you called you that. It was the players that after they graduated, the kids heard them calling you that. And that's where it kind of was, because I was trying to find out, I knew players from all different decades, and they were saying that we never called him that when he was our coach. We respected him too much. Now that's what they were saying. But they heard players that graduated calling you that. Now I heard where it came from because I got some inside. Because you always had them hundreds and them 50s in your pocket. So they started calling you big money. but it was a respect thing. The outpouring of respect that from all of the players that played for you is the same. From 83 to when you retired in 07. The players had that respect for you and they would not dare. I mean, when we was talking to Rudy, and I showed Rudy the picture of them dumping that water, that Gatorade on you. He said, man, we would have never thought about doing that in 89. So I see where as time went on, you stayed well, look, I'm your coach, y'all the players, but you allowed that type of gratitude or them showing you how much they care. You allowed that.
Well, people generally don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's one of the things that I think all of our players realize, that wrong was not accepted. Wrong was not accepted. You give me your best.
Yeah. And
we did things that would enhance that situation. You had to be to school on time. You had to do the things that every other player did. No player was treated different. And whether you were a starter or not, you were treated the same.
And to draw that line, that was very important. That said a lot.
Everyone, that's a T-shirt right there. He just said we should put that on a T-shirt.
It's one of those things where everyone wants to be important. And because he is fortunate enough to be in the game and make a play,
yes, sir,
does not give him the right to come late, does not give him the right to give a problem in class. See, we're all about changing boys to men.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And leadership, I used to punish him. And then I found out I was punishing myself. The guys I was punishing didn't really want to be there.
Uh-huh.
But the ones that was there every day end up being the ones on the field. And that guy attitude was basically, I don't care. You can't play in an environment where other people are committed and you're saying you don't care. That means you're going to perform like you don't care. Mm-hmm. So those kind of things were eliminated. And I said, we're not going through the punish thing. Either you want to be here or you don't.
And you're going to work hard with it.
You're going to do what everyone else does, that making a contribution.
Now, I'm going to say a few names, and you don't have to say the first thing come to your mind, but you could just, what this person may have meant to you in your career. Coach Barrick.
Coach Barrick was a guy that you needed for JVs because his tolerance was you can that don't hurt you, boy. But you're dealing with young kids.
Yeah.
And he dealt with our JV program supported.
Because I remember when
brought some great players to the varsity.
Yeah.
But it was initially started through his leadership, and he was in charge of it.
And my understanding, he was a trusted team. I mean, you and him, y'all worked very well together over those years.
Well, yeah we did. Yeah. I mean, of course, I had to many times kind of lead him in the right direction because, Coach Barrett believed in that toughness attitude.
Oh, he was tough.
He was tough.
Okay. Don Bailey.
Don Bailey?
Yeah.
Don Bailey, I coached at Lakes.
At Lakes, yeah.
Yeah. And we ended up being pretty good friends. He tried to cause me to lose my marriage. He called me from Indiana when he was playing with the Colts. And he said, Coach, I made a bad snap. You got to come up here and help me. I said, man, I can talk to you over the phone. You think my wife is going to accept the fact that I'm coming to Baltimore, teach you about snapping? She going to want to know what else is going to be going on. So I said, but he was a good player.
Good
overachiever at that particular time because he was thin, about 190 pounds.
And he's one of the few also, along with Barnwell, that were players, and y'all became friends later on like that.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of those with Barnwell. And all right, of course, Coach Barber, his senior.
Well, Coach Barber and I go way back.
Way back.
I saw him play, and I was a little boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played against the school my brother went to. He knocked one quarterback out. Ambulance came to pick him up and started out. They stopped him and said, got one more, come back and get the other one.
He knocked another one out.
Yeah, he wrecked him.
Oh.
And he played with that kind of intensity. Oh, well, I played against him in baseball. I was younger then.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to run over me then. But he played with high intensity at all time, practice, games. One of the games he played in, it was so hot. He had fever blisters that pop up on his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't care. Would not let them keep him out of the game.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, Vernon Wilder, Sr.
Well, that was my connection in the community because he had been there so long. Outstanding coach on the wild side, but I guess all of us were at a certain point.
At one point, yeah.
But outstanding football minded on either side of the ball, defensively or offensively.
From what I understand, his son now is going to be at Carol City, or is there now? The third, I believe.
Yes, he's there now. But they're in the process of reevaluating situations. But
okay.
I think having a new principal, everyone is go through the new administration.
Since you named the new principal, I'd throw another name at you, Larry Little.
Teammate of mine. One of the things that made Larry Little the man football player, Larry Little had a lot of pride, and he didn't believe anyone could do anything better than him at things he could do.
And
and he was the kind of player that you could always depend on.
I don't know.
Initially, most people thought he was lazy, but wasn't. Wasn't. He played hard, and he played. They tried to make him when he went to San Diego, his rookie year. They tried to make him a tight end because he was so talented.
Yeah.
Tried to make him a fullback because he was so talented. But one thing he said, he didn't want to be tackled.
He didn't want to be tackled.
People jumping all on him. But he was an outstanding person and a player.
Now, when you retired, were you really ready to go now? Then, at that point, it was time to go?
Well, I could have coached longer, but sometimes you have to get out of the way. Young people are ready. And it just, I had accomplished basically what players had given me basically the kind of things that I had enjoyed, not because of championships, but because of champion men.
Champion men.
And as a result of that, it's like a baby with teeth. One is there, but that's not the permanent set. Sometimes it's time for you to move out of the way.
Yeah.
So that the young people can come through and get it, take over. Because like today, I look at today's game, I don't make no opinion about it at all now. Because the game has changed so much. See, we were about developing players. Now, the greatest asset, I think, to most successful programs now is the ability to recruit kids to come to your school. Plus, the state has changed the rules, which gives them an opportunity to go anywhere they want to. So, as a result of that, you go
high school football with the NIL and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. I think it's. Well, I'm prejudiced probably. I think it's going to have an effect on football in general because each community is not going to have the same enthusiasm because the hand of time comes around to you eventually. Because my first 3 years at Carol City were not great years. But as I said earlier, it's a process. I had to learn something about them, and they had to learn something about me. Very few programs on any level start out unless it was an experienced group, very successful. It takes time for people to find out what system we're going to be in and how they're going to handle it, how it's going to be to their advantage.
Because the system, the system, that's what's the most effective. Bill Belichick, whatever they got, those systems were so effective. And what we had in Carol City, what Central had that system in place year round, that the kids were able to be plugged in and learn, like you were saying, turning them into, building them up. But that's why people believe that those coaches. That's why I always see you deflect, because the coach. You say champion men is what made you so successful.
Right.
Being able to have the athletes that you had and follow your program and your leadership. Because if you had a bunch of knuckleheads, nobody don't want to listen, you know what how that was going to end up.
You probably have some knuckleheads. It's just that
he's
a good teacher. A good teacher is a good teacher.
Well, it's just a situation where kids get themselves locked into a situation that's conducive for them. And as a result of that, it becomes very successful for their situation.
Now, you don't know what I got in this box, but you're about to find out.
And before he says that, I'm going to say, we've done the podcast and we'll get crazy on this thing and everything. But I'll tell you what, this podcast right here is more about the honor and respecting your legacy here in South Florida and just all over, because we were up at a funeral in mid-Florida and we mentioned your name, and then all those guys up there and
was that Avon Park?
Park area.
They all knew.
They all knew right away. Those guys.
Oh, you talking about Carrot City boy? Yeah.
Yeah, so they knew right away. So it's an honor, because we Rob and Frank and I, we talked about this I think we talked about this before we even started this podcast of having you on here, and so I just want to say thank you for
and I talked to
us.
You and set it up before the classic. Me and you talked a little bit, because you don't want to know the guys that drive truck with me is Keston.
Yeah. Me
and him was sharing the same trailer, hauling fuel.
Okay.
And he always told me that. When he told me that, I said, "Nah, man, you ain't no good friend with Coach Frazier." And he told me that. Then he was over there. And that's how we talked. Yeah. But this is something that I wanted to present to you, and I don't. You probably ain't expect it, but this is a service award. We want to present to you a service award, which is named after my mother. It's called the Moretta Wesley Service Award, presented to Coach Frazier for your tireless years of dedication and commitment to building young men to lead our community.
Wow.
This is my mom taught 36 years at Charles R. Drew.
Okay.
Miss Wesley. Okay. And she's going on now, but our organization named this award after her, and we want to present that to you as the first one that we present on as outside of our organization. You're the first member first person to receive this award, and it's our honor to give you that, Coach.
Yeah, we can clap. Everybody clap.
Well, I'd like to thank you and the organization for this award, but I feel kind of guilty because I'm standing on the shoulders of all the men that played for me.
Yeah.
And they are I'm where I am because of them. It's like the iceberg. You put me up and turn the spotlight on me, but underneath the water, I'm standing on their shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm standing on their performances. I'm standing on their commitment to the kinds of things that we, not I, great staff. And had 6 head coaches staff at one period, one time or another. Uh-huh. And I had outstanding coaches. We probably had about 30 coaches in the 26 years, and they all went on to do well in other schools.
Yeah.
And I'm accepting this for all of them.
Thank you, Coach.
Because a piece of this belongs to them all.
Thank you.
Because you know that, Coach, that's why they honor you.
Because yeah. They say the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that just shows that it's true. Yeah. The Chief Hall podcast, we were sitting here with Coach Frazier, the legendary Coach Walt Frazier.
Thank you.
And we thank y'all for listening and checking us out. And we'll see you next time on Chief Hall Podcast. We out. I'm kicking in your front. Great peeping in your drapes. Rob making the plate in the back. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast. Chief Hall Podcast.